In the Fallout franchise, the Vault-Tec Corporation was one of the most corrupt companies. On the surface, they could be seen as successful, a pillar for mankind, and innovative, promoting shelters known as vaults to help protect and preserve from events of nuclear devastation. Some vaults did just that, working as safe havens to rebuild society. But behind the curtain, Vault-Tec had shadowed plans for other vaults, using them as testing environments for the behaviors of the inhabitants. For example, one vault wouldn't have been provided enough food for its residents, or another would exist to study dwellers after psychoactive drugs were released into the air filtration system. There are many more stories to tell, which we will dive into in this series, The Vaults of Fallout. Tucked away in the South Vegas ruins, Vault 3 was initially a control vault that contained human dwellers, but has since become a dwelling for the raider gang known as the Fiends. A control vault meant that there were no intended experiments associated with it, and that the vault was to function exactly as advertised. Control vaults were to be opened up 20 years after the Great War, but in this case, the inhabitants of Vault 3 decided it would be in their best interest to stay safe and keep the doors closed for much longer. What caused the inhabitants of Vault 3 to eventually open the door to the outside world, ultimately risking their safety and security? How did the Fiends make their way in? There are a few quests that can eventually take you to this vault, unless you've discovered the location and decided to go exploring on your own. One such quest, Bounty Killer, is given by Colonel Hugh in Camp McCarran. Diane at the Red Rock Drug Lab can also activate a quest called Abba Dabba Honeymoon to deliver a package to Motor Runner, the Vault 3 leader of the Fiends. And a Brotherhood of Steel quest has you travel here as well for the Still in the Dark quest. Depending on where you are in your storyline will determine your journey here. As soon as you make your way inside, the front door is guarded by a woman who will question as to why you are there. Passing a speech check or wearing Great Khan armor will allow you passage to explore the vault as you wish. The walls are covered in graffiti, most likely put there by the Fiends, and there are several terminals with entries from the previous vault residents, piecing together what has happened. Navigating down to the maintenance wing, we learn from the vault's maintenance chief, Vincent Van Miller, that the small water leak that he had discovered previously has become a more serious problem, compromising the purity of their water supply. His suggestion is to start rationing the water as they look for a solution to this problem. We are also able to learn a little bit more about Vincent's life, as there are emails between him and another vault resident by the name of Jenny Lawson. In the emails, Vincent speaks about having a great time talking to Jenny and getting to know her and would like to meet for dinner. Jenny appears very enthusiastic about that prospect and suggests that they get together again soon, perhaps for breakfast. Vincent has fellow maintenance worker and good friend William Mason to thank for the connection and offers to take over the water situation to pledge his gratitude. The current overseer, Lincoln Davis, understanding the severity of the water situation, realizes that they don't have the parts needed to be able to fix the issue. This causes them to start thinking about looking for the parts outside of the vault, forcing them to consider opening the doors for the first time in over 200 years. He assigns Michelle Dalian to help facilitate alliances with any society currently surviving outside vault walls. During all of this, the vault election is forming. Unlike overseers of past vaults, it would appear that the overseer Lincoln Davis is well loved and respected by the inhabitants of Vault 3. In an email between him and George Stolt, we discover that George is in the running to become the next overseer due to Lincoln's endorsement at a town hall meeting. Because of the respect Lincoln has from the residents, this greatly increases George's chance at becoming overseer. Not everyone in the vault, however, is pleased with the prospect of opening the vault doors to outsiders. Fearing the unknown of what could be behind the doors, the vault was essentially divided, with this new band of residents calling themselves isolationists and gathering followers quickly. They've appointed a man by the name of Michael Robinson to run against George to become the new overseer and to stop the opening of Vault 3. We find on George's terminal that Michael has sent George an email explaining that he knows they've been friends for a while, but his ultimate goal is to keep the vault safe and only wants to open the doors to scavenge for things that they absolutely need, basically avoiding making any hasty decisions at the expense of their friends and family. Also on George's terminal, we find out he has a niece by the name of Janet Kemper who is about to turn 16 years old. He writes to her asking her how she's doing and how school is going for the year. He's been hearing good things from her teachers and then wonders what she has planned for her sweet 16th birthday party, offering to reserve the dining room for her. Sadly, it would appear that Janet's 16th year may have been cut too short due to events that eventually unfolded. The appointed leader of the External Association Committee, Michelle Dallian, started to become nervous at how serious Michael was taking the candidacy for overseer. She suggested to George that he keep all the weapons from the weapons locker in the storerooms in the submerged sections of the vault. Because these weapons were unavailable, the residents of Vault 3 had nothing to defend themselves with when the Fiends eventually broke in. We learn in an email addressed to all the residents eventually that George Stolt has won the election and is eager to make contact with the outside world, hoping to form bonds with the civilizations that have come together over the last years. He then thanks everyone for placing their trust in him and is honored to serve as overseer. The weapons now securely stashed in the storerooms, and George, the new overseer, meant that it was time to find out what was behind that big metal door. The first band of life that they find outside those doors, however, are the chem-addled raider gang, the Fiends. The Fiends wormed their way inside, and with no weapons to defend themselves, every single resident of Vault 3 was brutally slaughtered. Such a tragic end to an otherwise safe and well-established community of people. As you're accessing these terminals and learning the history of Vault 3, you can make your way down to the living quarters where you find a cage with 3 prisoners, Dennis, Rachel, and Rick Lancer. Unfortunately, there is a 4th captive by the name of Carter, who after talking with Rick mentions that Carter found a way to escape the prison in search of weapons, and was then caught and killed.
I don't know much, only that the people who lived in here originally were killed by the Fiends. Carter there escaped and managed to explore for a bit. He hacked a password off of the computer and found the location of some guns. He was on his way to get them when the Fiends caught him again. Yeah, it's yours if you help us out of here.
Rick informs you that they were kidnapped and there's nobody living that will pay any type of ransom for their release. Before the Fiends realizes this tidbit of information, Rick asks for your help to escape. You learn that a fiend named Daniel holds the key to their cell, and after killing him and any other fiends you come across, head back to the prisoners to release them. Once freed, Rick will reward you with the Overseer's password that Carter had found during his exploration. The password unlocks the terminal inside the Overseer's office. From there, you'll be able to unlock the storage room doors in the submerged sections of the vault, containing the weapons that were stashed previously. Heading down to the flooded sections of the vault can be difficult to swim through, so if you have the rebreather or the chem turbo, it would be best to use those items to navigate. You can loot the weapons from the gun cabinets and some additional junk, and another room contains a Chinese Army Special Ops training manual, which increases your sneak permanently by 3 points. There's also a Sunset Sarsaparilla Star bottle cap next to a terminal that says, "Hello Billy Boy," when accessed. The only option on that terminal is to compose automated blast message, which lands you nowhere, as the system simply says offline. You'll also most likely find some Vault 3 utility jumpsuits, which you'll want to collect for another quest that you can eventually learn about on the New Vegas Strip if you don't have it already. Other notable loot to look for are a Nuka-Cola quartz and a Nuka-Cola victory that is behind a locked door in the recreation area. And killing the Fiend leader motor runner will award you with his helmet as well as a chainsaw.
Trigger throwing,
It's such an unfortunate end to know that despite everything they did to keep Vault 3 a safe haven for its inhabitants, as well as avoiding any of Vault-Tec's psychotic experiments, they met their demise from simply being reckless and unprepared as to what awaited beyond those walls. And that is the story of Vault 3. Let me know what you think about the experiences and events that happened there. Leave a comment down below if you enjoyed this video and are interested in seeing more stories about vaults around the Fallout universe. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.